Hey Maddsters! So today I'm going to be talking about all the things that I wish I knew before I went to Michigan and all my insider tips and tricks because I'm finally done with my freshman year. Weird ending, but like fun time. Woo! Go blue! And so yeah, I just learned a ton of stuff from being in college, and there's just a lot of things that I want to share with you guys to make your freshman year as good as it can be. So first, I'm just going to start off with like college is whack. Just the whole idea, think about it. You go from living with your parents and having this really structured life. This is the time that you wake up and then you go to school and then you do your extracurriculars and then you eat and you go to bed, whatever you do. So you go from having intense structure to literally nothing. You're living with all these random people that you've never met in your whole entire life. They're from all around the world, all over the country. And you just meet them and you're like, hey, we're gonna live in the same building together without our parents. And the weirdest thing for me was that there were no rules. There's just always been a schedule. There's always been rules. Like, these are all mandatory events that you have to do. But in college, literally, you can choose whatever you want to do. So at the beginning of the year, they had this thing called convocation, which is where I guess, I don't know, the dean welcomes the freshmen. I don't really know. So I went because I'm like, oh, this is like a school assembly, like you have to go. And then it was super boring, so people just got up and left. I was like, you guys, like, you're not supposed to leave these assemblies, but you could because there's no rule of why you had to stay. So that was just weird. Another thing that I found super crazy at Michigan was how many wealthy kids there were. Okay, Michigan is a top public university. It's actually ranked #1 by some websites, and it's pretty expensive to go there, but the amount of wealth like in the school is just insane. I don't know if you guys knew what these were, but I didn't know when I first got there. The Canada Goose jackets. So basically, there's just like super good winter coats, obviously, but they're over $1,000. And at first, everyone's like, oh, do you have Canada Goose? I was like, I have no idea what that is. So then I had to look it up, and I was like, oh my god, how do these people have like thousands of dollars to spend on a jacket? So that's just like everywhere. And then also like Lululemon is, everyone has Lululemon. And then AirPods, like, or Beats or whatever, wireless headphones, like those, if you don't have that, you're pretty much in the minority. And then also I saw a pair of Balenciagas one time and I was like, oh my god, they actually look like socks. The amount of wealth that some kids have was just like insane. My mind was blown. And I read in the Michigan Daily that there are more students in the top 1% of wealth at the University of Michigan than there are African American students at the University of Michigan. I don't know. That was just really crazy for me to just like be around and live with. Like, wow, there's a lot of wealthy people here. But I guess that would be true at every college too. One of the other big things was just the overall culture shock that you get when going to college. I think they do a decent job of promoting diversity. However, it is still predominantly white. But I feel like no matter where you come from, you will have a culture shock. So for me, I grew up in like a white suburb where I was pretty much like one of the only Asians in my school, you know? They're like, everyone was white basically. And so it was normal for me to be around a bunch of white people all the time because that's how I grew up. And then I get to college and like, I was no longer like the smart Asian because first of all, everyone there's smart. And then second, there's a lot of Asian people there too. So that was definitely different. And I know from talking to some of my other friends that they had similar experiences. I think that everyone will experience some kind of culture shock just by going to college because there's a bunch of people from different walks of life, from different parts of the world. You meet foreign students and like, which are super cool. But yeah, so there's definitely a culture shock. So be prepared for that. But I think that's good to like be exposed to other people. Just one thing, no one really cares what anyone else is doing. So in high school, everyone's all up in each other's business and like, oh my god, did you see what she did? Or like, what happened between them? Or they're not friends anymore. But literally the school is so big that you just don't know anyone and you don't know anyone enough to care. No one really knows what they're doing because everyone, especially your freshman year, is just going through this crazy time and trying to figure out who they are and like what life is. Everyone's just all in the same boat of uncertainty and just like, LOL, I don't know. So I'm gonna start with the things that I wish I knew about education and school in general. Obviously, the whole point of going to college is to get an education, which will get you a job And so a lot of people have their major in mind, but also a lot of people don't. And so for me personally, I have no idea what I want to do because I don't really want to work ever in my life, but that's okay. I'll get a job. I just don't want to. But not knowing your major is super okay. Literally every single question you're going to get is going to be like, hi, what's your name? Where are you from? What's your major? For probably your whole entire collegiate life. So I just got tired, so I just ended up making up majors that I literally don't even know about. So you can say whatever major you want and no one's gonna really even remember what you said. But I feel like a really important part of college is forming those relationships and like connections in order to get you to your job. So although like your major does matter, it doesn't unless you're in a field that the major matters, I guess. So don't put too much pressure or stress on that. I know a lot of people who don't know, or a lot of people are like in between two. And I know a lot of people who switch, so it's fine. Also, what I wish I did in high school was to take as many AP classes as I can. One, they give you a nice, good foundation of knowledge. And so, for example, I took AP Calculus AB my senior year in high school. And then my first semester, I took Calc 1, which was the hardest class I've ever taken. But taking that AP class in high school was very helpful. And I had a lot more knowledge than people who did not. Instead of taking AP US History or AP Human Geography, which, I mean, they're fine classes, I got credit for it, but I wish I would have taken like AP Econ or AP Stats, which are classes that I had to take in college, but I had no knowledge about. Definitely when applying to schools, look at your schools, like what credits they take or what scores they take or what classes they take. Try to figure it out there. AP class that I personally really benefited from was AP Psych because I got credits and I was able to pass out of the Intro Psych class and move on to the Upper Psych or the Psych 200s. Taking AP is very helpful because you can transfer that credit, which gives you like more credits obviously, and so it can also make your registration time earlier. To register, you get this time based on how many credits you have. So for freshmen, because you don't have any credits, you get the last time to register, and by then all of the classes are closed. Like literally every single one is closed and you're stuck with terrible times and classes you don't want to take. So the benefit to taking APs and transferring your credit over is that you have more credits, and so your amount of credits increases and you get to register earlier. So my roommate came in with a ton of credits. She was like sophomore standing, so she got to register with the sophomores. However, like with a financial standpoint, if you transfer your AP credits in and say you're sophomore standing, that means that you pay the sophomore standing tuition rates. So I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's a couple $1,000s more. So some people chose not to transfer in their AP credits just so they don't have to pay those sophomore rates as a freshman. So it's really up to you, but I do think AP credits, or I don't know anything about IB, but I know that's a thing. But if you have AP credits, look into your school and what they take, because I found that they are super helpful, and just the knowledge that you get from those AP classes are pretty good. Okay, so obviously Michigan is a great school. And so a lot of people, especially me, I was so nervous. I was like, how hard are these classes gonna be? We're in college now, it's not gonna be a walk in the park like high school. And so I was definitely super nervous about that. I mean, it really depends on your work ethic. So for me, not gonna brag, but I had a pretty good work ethic in high school. And so I just refined that a little bit, translated it into college, and I did well, pretty well. I could have done better, obviously, but you can always do better. Basically, if you put in the work and the time, you should do decently well. I feel like that's just standard life. You have your lectures, you go to the lectures, always attend lectures, because that's what you're paying for. We calculated it in my math class. Not sure how accurate this is, but our calculations said that by the hour of like a 5-day school week, no weekends, no breaks, for an out-of-state student, it costs $300 per hour to attend the University of Michigan, which is just insane. You're paying a lot of money to go to the lectures and to like get an education, so I would highly recommend to go to class and to put in some work for it. Basically, you will most likely get out what you put in. Of course, there's going to be those classes where you work super hard and you still do bad, but you know, that's just how it goes. And there's also a lot of resources that can help you with the material. So you have your office hours, study groups, your friends, private tutors. They also have a math lab, a science learning center, and Sweetland Center for writing. So there are a lot of resources that you can use. And if you need a private tutor, go look on the Facebook page. Another big thing is imposter syndrome, which if you don't know, it's like I'm at the University of Michigan. Like, I don't feel like I belong here. I'm not that smart. Everyone else is a genius. And I feel like everyone has that. And you just gotta work through it because everyone's feeling like, oh, so intimidated. You're at the #1 public university. All these people around you are literally so smart and you just feel like you're not smart, but that's okay. Because of that, I never felt like there was a lot of competition. I mean, in high school, everyone was always asking, would you get on the test or what's your GPA? But in college, no one really asks and no one really says. So everyone's just all in it together. And I at least haven't personally felt like, oh, I'm competing against you or I have to get a higher grade than you, because we're all just like, whatever. So I feel like it's pretty supportive and everyone's smart, but everyone knows that. So it's just like all like very like a respectful atmosphere. But like if you think you're smart, go to college because you're really not that smart. That's how I felt. A lot of people are always like, don't take 8 a.m.s. Like those are terrible. You're gonna have a terrible time. But I actually had a fine time. I had 8:30s and 9s for both semesters. I have 8 a.m.s and 9 a.m.s for next semester too. I mean, I don't like it better because I don't know it any other way. But I feel like the earlier you start your day, the more you maximize your time. I'm not against having 8 a.m.s, but I feel like if you're not going to wake up for it, don't do it. If you're a morning person and you feel like you can do it, then do it. But if you're not, then don't do it. It's not that big of a deal. To each his own. The difference between a lecture that's an hour and a half and a lecture that's an hour is about 3 hours. So try not to take those hour-and-a-half lectures because they are the worst. I had to take 3 in a row, back to back to back, this semester. So I was in lectures from 8:30 to 1. Literally the worst decision of my life. The last lecture I just slept every single time. That was my nap class. Don't take lectures back to back to back because it's just terrible. And just in general, you're never not going to be busy. There's always an assignment due or something that you could study for or something that you could study for a little bit more or study group you have to go to or like extra practice that you can do. Once the school year starts, you're just non-stop. So that is hard. It's just a grind all the time. Now on to the social aspect of college. I think it's a really big part of the college experience because that's where you get to meet all your lifelong friends. I'm not gonna lie to you, the beginning sucks. Like, it's literally so hard. First of all, you know no one. At least for me, I was the only person in my school who went to Michigan, so that was not hard, but it was just like, I don't know anyone here, which was just sad. You don't know anyone, no one knows you, and you just feel so lost and out of place. Like, I'm just sad, you know? So the beginning will be a struggle, and it will be hard to make friends. So you just gotta be prepared for that. One thing that I am so thankful that my mom made me do is an early move-in program. So at Michigan, it's called MLEAD. Basically, you move in a week early. You get put into a group of about 20 people. You have a bunch of like leadership seminars, which those were super boring. But I got to make friends with a smaller group of 20 people in my dorm, which was super helpful because even till today, I talked to a good amount of those people that I met the first week of school. And then you also have to help move other people in, which is just a pain and it's super annoying. But I would say that the friendships that I got out of it are super worth it. So if you have an early move-in program option, I highly recommend you doing it because it's just super helpful in getting that head start. Also, on move-in day, they say to keep your doors open and like walk around and try to talk to people, which I did that, but I think it depends on your hall because some halls are super social, some halls are not. So I took that a step further and I started walking around on all the other floors in my dorm and like knocking on doors on other floors and just introducing myself. It was so fun. I met so many people, but the issue was I remembered all their names and they just don't remember me. So I would see them again and like be like, hey, and they didn't know who I was, which is okay. Like I get it, but that's a fun way to meet people. Some people still remembered me. You definitely have to put yourself out there, especially in the beginning stages when it's normal to just sit down next to a random person in the dining hall and start talking to them. I don't know why, but after the first month Like, that's not allowed. But do it the first month and go try to meet people. Also, if people are gonna go walk around or go to the dining hall, just be like, hey, can I come? No one's gonna reject you because everyone's trying to make friends. Go around, talk to people on your floor, because I met a lot of awesome people on my floor and in my dorm. In the beginning, what I wish I did more, especially with my classes, is to not take as many big lecture hall classes and do more of the smaller, like first year seminar kind of things. Having 500 people in a huge lecture, you're not gonna make any friends. Like, I've made 0 friends in any of my lectures. So you take smaller classes where there's like 20 kids and then you can make friends. I would say that the biggest struggle for myself was realizing how much effort and time you need to put into your friendships. In high school, I had gymnastics for 20 hours a week, and so that was like my social time, and I didn't have to take time out of my week to hang out with my friends because it was like already there for me, and just in high school in general. But in college, you will see these people maybe twice a week, 3 times if you're lucky. Otherwise, you need to really take time out of your day and like get together with them, go eat with them, or just hang out with them. The more time you spend on your relationships, the stronger they'll be. But you have to be able to spend that time. I did a really bad job at doing, so gotta work on that. Also, it's okay to sit alone in the dining halls or to go places by yourself. It's not like high school where you are judged if you are sitting at a table by yourself, because literally everyone has to sit by themselves at some point. And like I said before, no one really cares because everyone's just trying to survive, you know, trying to get through the week. So it's totally okay to just chill by yourself, or go eat lunch by yourself, or go walk to your class by yourself, or take the bus by yourself. It's normal. And everyone's just vibing by themselves. I would highly recommend rushing for a couple reasons. One, you meet a lot of people. You can meet people like in your rush line, which is like who you rush with in your rush group. And it helps you get exposed on like how to talk to people, how to have short conversations, you know, just small talk. I think it's just a good experience, and it really completes the college experience if you're into that. Some schools are really like Greek life heavy, and at Michigan, only I think about 25% are in Greek life. So really it's up to you. You can still make friends if you don't rush. So it's fine. Meet a lot of people in your clubs or other groups that you join. But there's this common misconception due to movies and stuff that like college, you're gonna be peer pressured to doing things that you don't want to do. I disagree, because like I've said before, no one cares what you do. So you can say no at any point and people are gonna be like, okay. You're at the age where you're not gonna peer pressure other people or like be rude to other people or not be friends with people if they don't do something, because you know, everyone's just living their own life. And also the huge like movie stigma about like hookup culture and stuff. I personally have not been exposed to that, and like, which is good. I don't want any of that, but I feel like you're at the age where it's your choice of what you do. I would just say that whatever you want to do, you should be safe and make sure that what you're doing is in your best interest. Make smart decisions. That's what I would say about that. I would say if you're going there with a lot of your high school friends, try not to stick with them and try to like branch out a little bit, just so you're not stuck in your hometown. But that's just me. If you want to do that, then that's fine too. The whole thing is you have to put yourself out there, get a little outside of your comfort zone, and just go for it. Okay, people are decent people and they're not gonna flat out be mean and reject you. And there's so many kids there that like you can make friends all the time. I've met some really awesome people this year and I'm excited to go back sophomore year. Let me tell you about living in the dorms. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the dorms, which really makes me sad because I love my dorm. I lived in Cambridge House of West Quad, aka the best quad, because it's in the best location, is the nicest dorm, and has 3A, which is 3A is a steady spot. So basically, there's dorms on the hill, which is about a 15-minute walk from the Diag. There's dorms on Central Campus, and then there's this one really tiny one called Fletcher, which is by the IM building. I have never met anyone who lives there. There's 2 all-girl dorms, which are also on Central Campus, 2 on North Campus, which is a 15-minute bus ride. So you just gotta pray that you do not get on North. But anyways, I really love the dorm life because while you're with your friends every single day, it's like living in a fun place all the time. I had a great time. I really miss the dorms. A lot of people are like, ew, the bathrooms are gross. they're really not. At least my bathrooms were fine. I never had an issue. Wear shower shoes and you should be fine. I think it's just a really good experience living with someone else because you learn how to be respectful of each other's spaces and their time. Finding a roommate is very difficult. At least it was for me. On Facebook, everyone, well, at least all the girls are like, oh my god, I love a good night in, but I would go out too. Like, I love hanging out with my friends. I love watching Netflix. I love going, like, it's the same girl over and over and over again. So shopping for roommates is the worst experience of your whole entire life. So I decided to go in blind. And for me, that worked out beautifully. It was great. My roommate and I were still friends. We're in the same sorority. Like, we have a great time together. I still text her, still send her TikToks, like, all the time. There is a large misconception that you have to be BFFs with your roommate, and I really don't think that you do. No, my roommate and I were great, but I'm just saying in general, there were a lot of people on my floor who were, like, just cohabited with their roommate, and that was fine too. You don't have to be best friends with your roommate. You don't have to go everywhere with your roommate just because you live together. So it's totally okay. Especially going in blind, I feel like that was the best way to go. One, because if you meet your roommate on Facebook, that does not mean that you actually know the true them. I would say that the success rate for Facebook roommates versus blind roommates are about the same. Because sometimes with Facebook, you come in with these preconceived notions about who this other person is, and then you get there and they really, like, don't do that. Or if you room with someone from high school that you already knew, sometimes rooming together causes a strain if you guys turn out to not be the roommates that you thought that you were. Finding a roommate, yes, it's stressful, but most of the time it works out. In my hall, out of the, I don't know, 20 to 30 rooms, I would say 90% went in blind and it worked out fine. You always hear about all the negative roommate issues, but most of the time it's just fine. It's not good or bad. You guys just live together and people are decent people. The moral of the story is be a good person, be respectful, and you'll be fine. So highly recommend going in blind. It's not as sketch as people think. Going off of living with people, you're gonna be sick. The first semester especially, every single person is sick. My roommate was sick the whole semester, so obviously I got sick. But just in general, living in those close quarters all together all the time, it's just a germ fest. Like, you're gonna get sick. So make sure you bring a lot of medicine. Let me just talk about the dining halls for a second. I love the dining halls. A lot of people didn't like them, but I really enjoyed them. You can go in, your food's prepared all the time. You don't have to do the dishes. You just walk in, grab your food, and go. And I just love that. South Quad was the dining hall that I ate at the most because West Quad does not have its own dining hall, so you just walk across the street to South Quad, which is awesome. Breakfast is pretty standard. You always had your eggs, potatoes, like pancakes or waffles, bagels, you know, the huge. But let me tell you, the blueberry muffins from South Quad are the greatest muffins you will ever taste in your whole entire life. I had one every single morning, and I will probably never have a muffin as good as that again. I also really liked the onion rings. Those were not common, but when they happened, they were great. Chicken tenders were good. Sweet potato fries were good. South Quad also has a kosher station, which is awesome. Their meat is super good, and so sometimes they'd have hamburgers with pretzel buns, and that was just amazing. Love that stuff. South Quad also had the stir fry station, and so it's like they make your stir fry for you. That was awesome too. There's just so much good food. If you're a picky eater, every day they always have salad, some kind of soup, some kind of pasta, either nachos or tacos, pizza, or like a sandwich or cereal. So there's always so many options that you could have if you didn't like what was given. And so I feel like you should really not have any issues with the dining hall because they do a great job and the dining hall people are so nice. And there was also a Dole Whip machine in the South Quad. So I don't know if you guys know, but like Disney World has like their pineapple Dole Whip. But this machine, some days it'd be pineapple, some days it'd be orange, some days it'd be raspberry. Dole Whip machine was awesome. Oh, and they had these like the hotel waffle makers, but like with an M on it. So that was awesome. And they got some really good food at South Quad. And going off with that, a lot of people think that you're gonna gain the freshman 15. My take on that is yes, you probably will gain weight. I can't say for everyone. But me, I did not gain 15 pounds. I did gain weight because I stopped working out because I hate working out. But I think also by walking to all your classes, it like balances out, you know? So I do think that you gain weight just in general because you don't work out as much, or you don't have time to work out, or you just don't want to, or you don't have that schedule of being an athlete. So I don't think that was really a terrible thing. I think it just happens in life. I feel like sure, the freshman thing can be a thing, but it's also like overhyped and it should not be that big of a fear. I can't say for everyone, but like it's just from my experience. Oh, one more tip about living in the dorms. I would recommend doing your laundry every 2 weeks using 2 washers and 1 dryer. Each washer costs $1.25 and a dryer costs $1. You end up spending $3.50 every 2 weeks rather than $2.25 every week. So you just save a little bit of money, but you know, in college that really adds up. I love dorm life. I would totally live in the dorm again, especially in West Quad because that's the best place to be. I do really like dining hall food. I know a lot of other people who like that too. Yeah, there were some days that like wasn't that good, but overall it was fine. Here are just some of my overall like college tips. Number 1, especially in Ann Arbor, it's a great college town. And so I don't know where I read it, but there was something like Ann Arbor has the most restaurants per square feet than any other town. I don't know, something like that. But definitely go out and try to eat at some of the restaurants. I have personally been to over 30 in my first year, so like kind of an accomplishment. It is super expensive, so go there with your parents. There are 2 main streets. State Street, which is like north to south, right off of Central Campus, and then South U. So like State Street's here, South U's here. And so those are the 2 main streets. A 15-minute walk away is Main Street, which is also super good and has a lot of awesome restaurants. So I would recommend exploring, walking around a little bit. Okay, this is from some of my other friends are talking about it because I've never had to deal with it. But UHS is not that great. They're open 9 to 5, so not that much time. The wait times to get in to actually see someone are pretty long. My friend said that if you have health insurance and you are in trouble or like need health care, just go to the ER because UHS will probably not help you very much. That's just what I heard, but they do give you free stuff. So going on to my next thing, you get a ton of free shirts. So here's one of my UHS sweatshirts. It's a glow in the dark Michigan sweatshirt. I got 2 of them, so I cropped it. I also got the same design in May's t-shirt for the football games. Also, during Welcome Week, there's this thing called the Taste of Ann Arbor or something. I don't know. They have like food and stuff. So I got this shirt from the Brown Jug. Just this yellow shirt. I also got this. It's a Domino's pizza shirt. Go to the sporting events too. I went to a volleyball game. Got this Vollapalooza shirt. So cute. Volleyball players are awesome. I got this one from UHS too, Stay in the Blue. And then this one also from a basketball game. I also got it in May's too. So yeah, you get a ton of shirts, a ton of free stuff if you go to places. So go to a bunch of events. Transportation. The main form of transportation in college is walking. And so first of all, get some really nice walking shoes. Some days I literally walk 3 miles. In the beginning, not gonna lie, the first week my legs were so sore. I was just so tired and my feet hurt so bad. But you get used to it and it's fine. Also, kids just don't look when you cross the streets. Apparently, if you get hit by a car, your tuition gets paid for. So that's part of the reason why kids don't look when they walk across the streets. I have almost gotten hit by a car about 2 times. Drivers are also like pretty bad. I wasn't paying attention, obviously. I walked into a parking spot that someone's like parallel parking into. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I walked into the street and then I almost got hit by a bike. And then there's like a bunch of mopeds that like go into the sidewalks too. So you might get hit by a car, but you probably won't. There are bus systems. So there's the blue buses that take you all over the campus. And then the ride buses, which are Ann Arbor public buses that will take you to like the mall or other places. So I would say to learn or at least have an idea of how the bus system works, because you might have to use it at some point. So just take some time to figure out the app, or ask people. I think those are just helpful to know. Overall, college is a great time. You really learn a lot about yourself, things that you like to do, and it's really nice to be on your own for the first time. You really learn how you best function and how to interact with people, how to advocate for yourself. I think the most important thing is to just be thankful for your opportunity to get an education at any university. It doesn't matter where you go, because a lot of people don't have that opportunity to do that. I think it's definitely something important to remember. Not everyone has the ability to go to a higher education institution. Thank you guys for watching. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was interesting. Feel free to reach out to me, and I would love to answer any of your questions about Michigan or about like living in the dorms, because I love the dorms. Thanks for watching. Bye, Maddsters.